The fast food world is changing fast. With global industry growth projected to reach over $922 billion by 2033, you'd think everything's on the up and up, but that's not the case for everyone. Beneath the glossy ads and shiny new menu items, some of your favorite chains are facing massive trouble. Consumer tastes are evolving, prices are going up. Competition is fierce, and while some brands are thriving, others are quietly shrinking, closing stores and struggling just to stay relevant. In this video, we're breaking down 12 major fast food chains that are teetering on the edge and why they may not survive the next decade. First, Subway. It is the quintessential cautionary tale of what happens when rapid expansion meets stagnation. It is no longer the sandwich titan it once was, with over 7,600 stores shuttered since 2015. In 2024 alone, 631 locations closed, a number that represents more than just a statistic. It's a reflection of widespread franchise fatigue. What used to be a go-to lunch option for millions is now often bypassed in favor of fresher, trendier, and more transparent eateries. It is caught in a crisis of identity. Once known for the $5 footlong and customizable sandwiches, it is now frequently criticized for low-quality ingredients and uninspiring marketing. A major franchisee filing for Chapter 11 in mid-2025 has only poured gasoline on the fire. It is not as simple as rebranding or adding new menu items. Though the company has launched initiatives like Fresh Forward 2.0 and quirky items such as footlong cookies, these moves appear more like gimmicks than genuine reinvention. It is also facing internal struggles, with franchisees increasingly vocal about restrictive policies and dwindling profitability. Many store owners cite increasing food and labor costs that corporate hasn't adequately helped to offset. The company's private equity acquisition promised a turnaround, but all it has delivered so far is more debt and uncertainty. It is also suffering from a public image problem. Years of controversies, from questions about the quality of its ingredients to a high-profile scandal involving a former spokesperson, have left a lasting scar. Gen Z and millennials, a demographic it desperately needs to win over, are leaning toward local sandwich shops or competitors like Jersey Mike's and Firehouse Subs. Without a compelling new identity and serious investment in quality, Subway's future looks like a long, slow fade rather than a triumphant comeback. Second, Dennys. It is a chain that once thrived on being the 24/7 diner of choice, serving up pancakes and bacon at all hours. But in 2025, that model is showing its age. The idea of gathering in booths at 3 a.m. after a concert or a long road trip still has charm. But for many consumers, that nostalgia isn't enough to overcome poor experiences. Denny's net income has plummeted by over 93% in Q1. From $4.69 million to just $326,000. That's not a dip, it's a nosedive. It is not just one bad quarter either. The brand is seeing consistent declines. 88 locations closed in 2024, and up to 90 more are expected to shut their doors in 2025. Many of these stores had loyal followings for decades, now deemed too low volume or too rundown to keep alive. Denny's is attempting to course correct. There's a push to modernize its image, menu, and operations. However, much of the dining experience remains stuck in the past. Reviews often highlight dirty floors, sticky menus, tired decor, and burnt coffee. It is also dealing with a major debt load, $276 million, with minimal cash flow to ease the burden. The company has tried leaning into deals and promotions like the $1 Grand Slam buy one get one to spark traffic, but these deep discounts are hurting more than helping. Inflation has squeezed margins thin. Servers are stretched across too many tables, and back-of-house staff often can't keep up with peak-hour demand. Denny's does have a glimmer of hope in Keek's Breakfast Cafe, a smaller, faster-growing concept. But unless it can significantly upgrade operations and prove it still belongs in today's competitive dining landscape, Denny's could be nearing its last call. 3. Applebees. It is a staple of the casual dining world that feels increasingly like a relic. It is that place where families used to go after soccer games or for 2 for $25 date nights. But the numbers are grim. Same-store sales are down 2.2% in Q1 2025, following a 4.7% drop in the previous quarter. Store closures are mounting, 33 in 2024, with another 35 likely this year. It is trying to modernize. The brand has tested new layouts focused on takeout and delivery, recognizing that consumer habits have shifted. But Applebees is having a hard time standing out. The menu is vast but not distinctive. Food quality is uneven and service is hit or miss. Critics describe the experience as generic, fine but forgettable. In an era where dining out is both more expensive and more selective, that's not good enough. It is also facing internal cost pressures. While parent company Dine Brands still has liquidity, its adjusted free cash flow dropped more than 50% year over year. Applebees is at risk of becoming a middle ground chain, too bland for younger consumers, too casual for those seeking a premium experience. Without a radical repositioning, Applebees could keep losing ground to more focused competitors like Chili's or even fast casual upstarts like Modern Market and Cava. Fourth, IHOP. It is another breakfast giant feeling the strain. Famous for its pancakes, it struggles to grow beyond its morning identity. Sales were down 1.5% in 2024, followed by another 2.7% drop in Q1 2025. More restaurants closed than opened, a clear indicator that the chain is contracting. It is attempting to address inefficiencies. The new leadership is focused on improving back-of-house operations, slashing prep time, and embracing automation. There's also a shift toward value-driven items like the $6 value menu to attract budget-conscious diners. But competition is fierce. Local brunch spots and trendier fast-casual cafes are siphoning away younger audiences. It is also fighting against its own branding history. A few years ago, it tried rebranding briefly as a burger joint. Remember IHOP, but the stunt fell flat. Even though it has tried expanding its lunch and dinner offerings, public perception is hard to shake. Customers still think of it as a pancake place. Until IHOP can convincingly redefine what it offers and when, it risks becoming a one-note brand in a symphony of new dining experiences. 5. Noodles and Company. It is a brand that once prided itself on offering globally inspired pasta dishes fast, but now finds itself boiling in financial trouble. Losses are widening. $9.1 million in Q1 2025 alone, a jump from $6.1 million the previous year. Even with modest revenue growth of 2% to $123.8 million, rising costs are eating into any progress. Food expenses now make up 26.6% of sales, and labor costs are creeping up to 32.5%, mostly due to inflation and retraining for a revamped menu. It is shrinking in scale as well. Up to 21 stores are slated to close in 2025, including both company-owned and franchise locations. These aren't just minor cuts, they're strategic retreats from markets that no longer sustain volume. That move may save $5 million, but it also reduces reach in a market that's already hyper-competitive. The company has attempted to win back customers with a refreshed menu and the We Know Noodles campaign, introducing items like buffalo chicken ranch mac and cheese. While customer engagement rose, profit margins did not. It is facing a very real liquidity crisis. With just $1.4 million in cash and over $102 million in debt, the financial runway is short. A warning from NASDAQ over share price could lead to delisting, which would further rattle investor confidence. Without a major turnaround, not just in flavor but in balance sheets, this once promising chain may find itself boiled down to nothing. 6. Hardees. It is a chain tangled in its own internal strife. Once known for its bold, sometimes controversial advertising, it now finds itself in a very different battle against its franchisees. Legal disputes with one of its biggest operators, Paradigm Investment Group, reveal a brand struggling to enforce modernization while franchisees refuse, citing losses and poor corporate support. Most of their restaurants now close by 2 p.m., abandoning dinner entirely to cut costs. It is hemorrhaging locations, having closed over 40 restaurants since 2023 across multiple states. More quietly shuttered units followed in early 2025. Sales are down 12% since 2014, and average unit volumes are lower than a decade ago. Parent company CKE Restaurants reported a net loss of over $9 million in Q1 2025, up dramatically from $1.4 million the previous year, signaling wider instability. It is losing touch with customers too. Drive-through times lag behind competitors, and store conditions vary wildly. Even attempts to pivot from its outdated branding toward a focus on burgers haven't paid off. Trust between corporate and franchisees is fractured. One side blames restrictive mandates, the other cites non-compliance. Until that chasm is bridged, the brand can't stabilize, let alone grow. The clock is ticking, and with each store that closes early, another customer is lost. 7. Shake Shack. It is expanding faster than almost any competitor, aiming for 1,500 U.S. stores by 2030. But fast growth can bring fast problems. While revenue rose 10.5% to $320.9 million in Q1 2025, same-store sales barely budged, up just 0.2%. That's not enough to sustain its breakneck expansion. Profit margins are razor-thin at 3.6%, down from 3.7%, and missed earnings expectations signal pressure ahead. It is banking heavily on drive-thrus and suburban expansion after scaling back urban locations like Los Angeles due to cannibalization. 9 underperforming stores closed in 2024. While drive-thrus have improved opening sales and order speeds, the strategy isn't without risks. Staff shortages remain a bottleneck, especially with the need to hire dozens of new general managers each year. It is also trying to stay premium while not alienating price-conscious diners. Limited-time menu items like the Dubai Pistachio Shake are hits on social media, but core items remain expensive. In a shaky economy, even loyal customers are trading down. Shake Shack may still be popular, but if expansion outpaces demand or waters down the brand experience, the company could find itself stuck with too many seats and not enough customers to fill them. Osme Burger King. It is a giant losing its crown. Despite being one of the most recognizable names globally, U.S. performance is sagging. Same-store sales dropped 1.3% in Q1 2025, and total system-wide sales dipped 1.7%. Store closures are becoming routine, 77 in 2024 and over 260 the year before, amounting to a loss of more than 400 restaurants in 3 years. It is embroiled in bankruptcy filings from major franchisees like Consolidated Burger Holdings, who blamed falling sales and rising costs. This operator alone closed 18 restaurants before seeking Chapter 11 protection. The Reclaim the Flame strategy, a $400 million turnaround plan launched in 2022, was supposed to fix things through remodels and tech upgrades, but average profits per restaurant remain stuck at $205,000, far from the $300,000 goal. It is also facing legal heat from a class action lawsuit over no-poach agreements and continues to trail rivals in breakfast and coffee. Parent company Restaurant Brands International, RBI, is heavily leveraged with over $13.7 billion in long-term debt. Though RBI has other strong brands, Burger King's decline is weighing it down. Unless it can drastically improve franchise relations, store performance, and customer relevance, its royalty in the Burger Kingdom might be a thing of the past. 9. Papa John's losing its slice of the pie. It is losing ground in its home market fast. Same-store sales in North America have declined for 5 straight quarters, with Q1 2025 down 3%. Company-owned stores are doing worse than franchised ones, and customer sentiment is shifting. Delivery, once its bread and butter, is becoming less popular as consumers avoid tipping and fees. Carry-out is king now, but Papa John's wasn't built for it. It is still trying to repair a badly damaged brand image, years after public scandals involving its founder. Even with tens of millions spent on rebranding, the perception problem lingers. People see it as overpriced and underwhelming. The Back to Better 2.0 turnaround plan includes AI-powered personalization tools and heavier marketing, but results are mixed. It is under financial strain. Net income dropped to $9.3 million in Q1 2025 from $14.9 million the year prior. Debt stands at $970 million, and adjusted EBITDA is slipping. down nearly 20%. With pressure on margins and declining traffic, it's unclear how long this model can hold. Unless the company can reinvent itself as more than just a pizza delivery chain, it may find itself boxed out of the market it helped shape. D-Set Smoky Bones. It is a brand being quietly dismantled. Once envisioned as a rising star in the casual BBQ scene, it is now undergoing a strategic vanishing act. Parent company Fat Brands is converting roughly half of Smoky Bones' remaining 61 stores into Twin Peaks sports bars, because the latter simply makes more money. Sales are stagnant, locations are closing, and the writing is on the wall. It is losing relevance in a shifting dining landscape. Attempts to boost traffic through cocktail innovation and bar-focused upgrades didn't move the needle. 9 stores are closing permanently, not because of competition, but because lease terms, declining trade areas, or building conditions made them unsustainable. It is dragging down its parent, too. Fat Brands reported a $46 million net loss in Q1 2025 and holds over $1.2 billion in debt. System-wide sales are declining. With so few Smoky Bones locations expected to remain after the conversions, this isn't a pivot, it's an exit. The BBQ chain might not file bankruptcy, but it's being phased out all the same. Number 11, Del Taco. It is a player in the Mexican fast food space that's been struggling to carve out space between Taco Bell and Chipotle. Acquired by Jack in the Box for $585 million in 2021, it was supposed to give the parent company a competitive boost, but the results have been underwhelming. Store growth has stalled, and existing units are under pressure. It is feeling the weight of inflation more than most. Its value menu used to be a key traffic driver, but cost pressures are forcing price increases. That pushes it dangerously close to losing its value identity, its main draw. At the same time, operational consistency varies widely between franchise locations, frustrating loyal customers. It is still running at a loss in some regions. Jack in the Box has not broken out Del Taco's recent financials separately, but analysts note weak performance across co-branded experiments and digital ordering. The merger has not produced the synergies promised, and expansion has slowed. If Jack in the Box decides to cut losses, Del Taco could be spun off or downsized dramatically. Number 12, Checkers and Rallies. It is a brand with bold flavors and a cult following, but also a deep financial hole. Known for drive-through only setups and loaded fries, it has struggled to keep up with operational demands. In June 2023, it narrowly avoided bankruptcy thanks to a lender rescue deal, but underlying issues remain. It is suffering from declining customer traffic and rising food costs. While its value-driven menu appeals to budget-conscious diners, it doesn't leave much room for profit. Labor shortages have impacted service times, and tech upgrades like AI drive-through assistants are still being piloted, not scaled. It is operating on thin ice. With rising debt and shrinking margins, the chain's aggressive franchising push could backfire. Unless it can deliver consistent execution and find a way to grow without over-leveraging, it might speed into the same dead end as other chains before it. The fast food industry might be growing overall, but that growth is lopsided. For every Chipotle or Chick-fil-A winning the game, there's a dozen struggling to adapt. Whether it's outdated menus, internal franchise drama, debt overload, or just being out of touch with today's consumers, these chains are in real danger. Some may bounce back, others may shrink to regional status, and a few may not make it at all. So next time you see one of these names on your drive home, know this: it could be one of your last chances to stop by. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell.